Are you tired of only running the meta? Are your friends telling you should just run a mutant and stop using everything else? But you're an AK guy with a little bit of class and some taste, and you don't like sitting there floating the mainstream every single raid because it makes the game even more boring? Well, I got you with a build, I got you with a gun, and I even went over the rounds because everyone's a little scared to run 545 this wipe ever since ballistic changes. Let's get straight into the video. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Iron Ronin if you don't already know. And what are we doing today? Another why the hell aren't you using this gun? What's the gun we're talking about today? The AK74N. Yes, you heard that right. 545. I don't know how I felt about that. And yes, you heard that right. 545. That's what we're talking about. I honestly think these guns aren't as bad as everyone puts it out to be.
Blah, 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 blah.
Right now, if you magged out with BT, you still gonna kill somebody. The ammo's not expensive. It's end of wipe. And I'm still only running into, at best, usually an AACPC. Most of the time, people might just be running Gazelles. And if you mix in a little BS, or maybe you throw in some 7 and 40, you're gonna kill this person the same way you would with any other gun.
No, that's him. He's shooting at me.
He's dead. No, not these guys again. Now, I tested some budget versions and a whole bunch of meta versions, and I'm sorry, but it was extremely effective. I really don't know what people are talking about. I think the biggest issue a lot of people have with Tarkov this wipe, since the ballistics have changed and there's so many fights that are not at the range that they used to be comfortable with before, and they're not running 308, you automatically see every round sucking after about 75 to 150 meter fights. And I get it. In reality, a lot of these rounds are going to be good from 100 to 200 meters. I mean, we have 300 blackout. That should be the most devastating round for any of the assault weapons under 100 meters. It's basically BP, but thick. I do think there's some ballistics changes and some balances that need to happen. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the AK74N. So let's get into that. All right, so let's take a look at the meta build that I run. We're going to start off with the Hexagon Suppressor, Steiner D-Ball, and the CSS Knurled Charging Handle. So on the other side, you got the VS Combo Handguard, the Mo stock with the Mesa Adapter and Strike Industries Buffer Tube, the Stark SE Hand Grip, and the AGS74 Pistol Grip. Now, of course, running a IGOLNIK or BS, and then the pièce de résistance, the Vortex UH1 holographic sight, possibly my favorite in all the game. Hold on. Before we go into the guns, I want to know from you, what was your go-to this wipe? What armor and gun was your go-to that wasn't a mutant and wasn't a gazelle? What are the two items that you use that got you the most wins in raid? I want to know. With the ballistics changes, these answers have got to be different. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. All right, so let's take a look at all three guns. We'll kind of just look at the specs and kind of get an idea of where they stand before I do some actual testing and show you the recoil patterns for these guns. So for the stock AK74N, you're looking at 45.5 ergo, and you're looking at 80 vertical recoil. For the meta build, you're looking at 59.5 ergo, 42 vertical, and for the budget build, you're looking at 74.5 ergo and 53 vertical recoil. These are really good numbers even for the budget build. All right, so let's take a look at the way they actually perform. All right, so I'm going to do standing shooting and then crouch shooting so you can see the difference in the patterns for all three guns. You can see this really isn't that bad at all for a bone stock AK74N. This is a good gun early wipe. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the same thing, but we'll put both guns up at the same time, the budget and the meta, so you can go ahead and see it at the same time. Standing first. Take a look at this. Look at the difference between the meta and the budget. It's actually a wide gap when you're standing. Now let's take a look at the difference when we crouch. You can see with the budget, it kicks a lot left to right. Now, when you look at it from a distance, though, it looks like the pattern's very tight and similar, but the kick with the budget is very circular. The meta stays very consistent up and down. Okay, so let's jump over to ammo. Let's take a look at all the options you have for 5.45. So, of course, we have no, we have a no, then we have another no, and then no, and then just don't use this, and then don't use this, definitely not this. Okay, so now we have usable rounds. First, BP, BP, and BT. These would all be what I call mag dump rounds, especially later in the wipe. The king of this group, though, is BT. With the high damage to armor, the 37 pin and the 44 damage, you're going to beat up on players as long as they're not wearing slicks. Gazelles, you start to see it slack really bad, but everything else, especially now with blunt damage, this round is actually still very good late into a wipe. Now let's look at the top tier rounds. Okay, so as you can tell from these three, 7N40 is extremely good. It's a very balanced round that in all honesty is probably one of the best in Tarkov. It may not have the pin that IGOLNIK has, but with the damage and the pin and all the other buffs associated, this round is extremely good. But it's not found that much, and I've maybe only found 300 or 400 rounds the entire wipe. BS is probably my go-to. Usually when I get loaded up on BS, that's when I use this. IGOLNIK is good. The problem is its damage is so weak. So when you try to kill scavs while chasing down players, you're going to end up having to take more shots than you would against a player. So really, I only use the IGOLNIK to mag dump as if it's just a very high pin BT. So BS is really the only option for this, and I know a lot of y'all are going to huff and puff about that, but in reality, you got to use what you got to use to beat people. So my two go-tos are really just BS and BT. So I know that was really short on the ammo. I could do a bunch of testing every single time, but I doubt a lot of y'all want to sit and just watch me shoot armor. So basically from the testing, I really want to point out that with these rounds, you're gonna want to hit somebody multiple times. Don't expect 1 or 2 taps unless it's headshots. You only do 40 to 50 damage each time. That's not enough to 1 or 2 tap people unless it's in the face. I know that's why a lot of people think these rounds suck, but in reality, you have to hit your target multiple times with these rounds. So expect mag dumps. So one more thing that I know y'all want to see. The prices, the costs, the breakdowns, and the builds. And I got you. Let's knock that out real quick. Okay, so for the meta build, you're looking at about 200,000 rubles before you find a hexagon suppressor. Granted, I find a lot of these on other players, and I find them on maps, especially like Kiba in Interchange. So I haven't really needed to buy them, but it can actually make this gun one of the most expensive meta builds in Tarkov. Usually the suppressor sits around 100,000, but right now, late in wipe, it's sitting around 200,000 because there's not as many players playing. So early in the wipe, I was seeing it on average between 80 to 120. Okay, so now for the budget build. The budget build's great because there's actually a lot of options to spend anywhere between 90 to 120,000 rubles for this gun. It's actually a really good deal, mid to late wipe even. So for the build I'm showing you right now, you're looking at about 109,000 rubles. So you're looking at about 105,000 rubles, and that includes the price of the AK74N. This is a very cheap weapon that is very effective, especially mag dumping with BT and BP. So another thing I should mention though is the stocks on this can be very interchangeable based on what you have in your stash. The Archangel is a very good deal if you can find them cheaper sometimes. Those actually change the recoil and the ergo a lot themselves. Also, the Zukov is a lot more expensive. As you can see, it does bump the price up to over 120,000 rubles, but you are getting more recoil control out of this. Another thing you should add to this, also if you're comfortable using it, is the eye cup for this sight. It actually gives you 3 more ergo and you can really maximize this build. Okay, so let's take a look at some gameplay. I'll kind of mix it up so you can actually see how well this gun works. I'm gonna try to fight all these player scavs. Looks just asking to lose a kit. And there he is. That's the one I was looking for. You little shit.
Everybody alive?
Yeah, this scav just wants to take... Oh, that's why. Scav had an alpha rig and level 4 armor on. Fucking juicer. Yeah, it's the boys. 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 They threw like 2 grenades at me. They threw another one?
That was my flash.
I just shot Shala's ass up.
What?
I just did a quest? What happened?
Damn it, my weapons.
I'm coming back out. Oh, flash me. Oh, it's sniper scout. Got him.
I don't know, bro. That's just all eating bad. I think it's just part of the shit. No. He's got a big ass backpack on, bro. You should be able to see him.
He's right in the ditch. He just
I will
killed me.
forever be a
Headed to the train. You hear what I said, alright? Oh shit, no, dude, that's not you! What the fuck? I thought that was you the whole time!
You just murdered that man.
You lied to me! You
No,
broke
bro,
my
I said-
heart! Got a player. I was playing my geek. Thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully this made you think about using this gun. Not every weapon's gonna be perfect in Tarkov. We're still not even near all the maps being released. Have fun, try different things. The better you are now with other weapons, the better you'll be later when the game gets harder. Nikita doesn't want it to be this easy to get ruble and to grow in the game. You need to be able to use multiple weapons, not just one weapon, one ammo, and that's all you play with. Don't forget, you can check me out on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Links will be in the description below. Leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. It's free for you and it helps me out. So until next time, guys, peace.